this is my old whetstone grindstone, and I suppose it must have been, oh, the mid-80s or something like that. I got a local stonemason to cut me this piece of York stone. It's a fine sandstone, very fine grained. Anyway, he cut a square hole in the middle and set it out. And I set it on this shaft with a pair of bearings. Originally this was on a wooden horse, but that rotted away. The feet started to go and it started to get a bit rickety. So I've knocked up this steel frame now. And back then I would have this in the back of the van and drop into commercial caterers and stuff like that and sharpen their knives for them. And they got used to me coming round, and you know, once every 6 weeks I'd turn up and sharpen all their knives and have lunch with them and stuff like that, and they'd pay me fairly handsomely. And that was, but the first time I did it, the next time I turned up with one company, went, we must remember to warn our staff, because apparently the day after I'd sharpened all the knives, there were lots of cut fingers, not used to sharp knives. Anyway, so all we've got here is a simple crank arrangement. I'll just turn it round. Very simply, it's just a piece of flat bar welded on the end of the crank with a bolt through a hole. It's welded on the back, and then a wooden rod and this nut and a washer. That's it. And then a simple, got a couple of hinges down there, and that's all it is. And it just looks like that hinge down there is about seized up. Maybe a bit of oil will come in handy. So it normally sits outside, but I suppose I really ought to look after it a bit better. In winter I normally drape something over the stone, but the old-fashioned ones used to have a trough in the bottom, and that used to stay full of water and either freeze up or break the stone, or the stone would be sat in the water all the time and go soft, and then there'd be the stone would be out around. Anyway, it's very easy to use this. You just slosh some water on it, and when I used to do knives all the time, I had a little bit of bar up here and a paint tin with a little tap, so it'd just go drip, drip. But, you know, paint tins over a number of years, they just rot out. So, stone coming forward at the front, and that's all there is. And then the other side. And you can get knives so sharp that they'll be able to cut a soft tomato without changing the shape, just on this stone. And of course the beauty of a whetstone like this is that the steel doesn't get worn. I think this is a stainless steel blade. In one of the videos of talking about thumbnails, stick your thumbnail against the blade, and if your blade runs down it like that, it's not sharp. Anyway, let's try this axe, because this axe was a little bit on the dull side. Years ago I used to go to all the Albion fairs, take the grindstone. Everybody got used to me turning up. Out came the knives and axes. general living equipment. I just remembered that thing about the thumbnail. It's in a video I'm doing about some windows. So you won't have seen it yet. That's see? The old thumbnail won't slide on that at all. As opposed to that knife, which is stainless steel, which is really difficult or next to impossible to sharpen, and it just slides along. Now, it's your thumbnail, alright? It's not your finger. Okay, you slide your finger along there, you've got a big red line. You just put your thumbnail there. You're not pressing hard, but if it's sharp, it'll just dig in. That's what that's doing. So if you feel a bit iffy about running your thumbnail down this axe, then you just got a thin sliver of wood. And it's just grabbing hold of that. I mean, obviously you don't want to go like that, because then your hand can slip on the edge. So, and it's just grabbing hold. Hopefully that's helped a few people. It's mobile. You don't use any electricity. It's kind on your steel, and out the back there somewhere, I've got a bigger stone than this. It's about 2 foot round, on bearings. I suppose I ought to resurrect it. Maybe that's a project. But look at this, see? It's kind to your steel, this stone. And of course, everybody who works in workshops tends to save tins of all sorts of things. There you go, recycling. You know, and they end up full of nuts and bolts and oil and what have you. Now, the other thing to remember is one side, then the other. Because as you grind, you create a burr on the other side of the blade, of the edge. So I'm grinding there. Theoretically, it's creating a burr on this edge. But these whetstones are nowhere near as aggressive as a carborundum stone. So I can't feel a burr there. I'm running my thumbnail again forward, and it's just dropping off the edge. So it doesn't feel like there's a burr there.